right, welcome back. You're watching Wake Up Sierra Leone here on the Africa Young Voices. You're also listening to us this morning on radio on 101.7 frequency modulation. Now in this first segment, we are going to discuss the views of members of Parliament on the appointment of Chief Electoral Officer Edmund Alpha. And also this morning we'll be discussing the past, the present, and the future of satellite broadcasting in Sierra Leone, digital communication, specifically DSTV, Saloon Box versus the Nigerian box, and what's the country's losing, economically, among other things. Do not forget to be a part of the program. You can always go to our Facebook page and joining on the conversation. However, do it decently. As you know, we are in the fasting season now. And so, let's delve right into it. In this first segment, we're joined by parliamentarians this morning to discuss the appointment of the Chief Electoral Commissioner, Edmund Alpha, who on paper, it is said that 12 out of the 14 political parties we have in Sierra Leone have endorsed his appointment. Now in the studio we're joined by Honorable Tawa Conteh. Honorable Tawa is the Deputy Speaker of the House of Parliament, and he's flanked by Honorable Abdul Karim Kamara, who is a Chief Whip in the same Parliament for the main opposition All People's Congress Party. Good morning, gentlemen. It's a pleasure having you. I'll begin with the Honorable Tawa. Yesterday hearings began. You had actually interviewed the candidates. What's the status?
Well, normally when appointments are made by His Excellency the President, once he has to do his powers in the Constitution, whether Section 71, as the case may be, whether he wants to constitute an office or is appointing persons or individual into tenure office or into vacant positions, the appointments, depending on the structure, is provided for by the Constitution. And in this case, for the Chief Electoral Commissioner, President is required to firstly consult leaders of all registered political parties as provided for Section 32(3) of the 1991 Constitution. So following that consultation, which is not clearly defined in the Constitution, and which further states or stipulated in the 1991 Constitution in Section 17114 that the issue of consultation is, however, almost redundant, because in 17114 it says that any person or authority in whom powers are conferred to this constitution to consult, the person is not bound by the outcome of the consultation. But however, the president, trying to elevate the conversation or discuss about consultation, sent out letters to all political parties, because the issue of consultation, Sierra Leoneans would be called, has been a very thorny issue, particularly when it comes to the appointment of whether the Chief Electoral Commissioner, whether commissioners of the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone, be it under this dispensation or under President Kuruma or under President Kaba. It has been a very thorny issue because there is no clear definition as to what form or...
And we would like to apologize, Honorable. It appears as though your mic is having some serious problems. I would like to fix it and come back to you. Let's take a quick break, please.
waiting best for me picking them, especially when it comes out waiting them for eat and drink. Now this make I always they choose Sarah juice because they make come from with local foods them and nutritious and it gets less sugar than the other drinks them. Not to me say so.
We lab test show say Sarah juice gets 50% less sugar than the other drinks them na the market.
Because we mama they know waiting best for we picking them, now you make we always they choose Sarah juice. Sarah juice and nutritious, a healthy and it's sweet. Sarah juice, not the taste of Salome.
Fellows,
As mama.
All right, we'd like to, gravely apologize for that break in our, transmission this morning. We apologize indeed, and we're trying to fix or rectify things that you do not continue to suffer from sound deficiency. We'll go back to Honorable Tawa, who is the Deputy Speaker of Parliament. He was making a case, legitimizing the appointment of Edmund Alpha, who had been proposed as Chief Electoral Commissioner of the ECSL Sierra Leone. Honorable, please. If you would, please, kindly just paraphrase.
The appointment of the Chief Electoral Commission of the President meets the requirement in the 1991 Constitution, current extant norm of Sierra Leone, and the President, in doing so, take into consideration the provision of consultation, which I have stated earlier is not clearly defined in the Constitution, and which also fall way to one of the clawback clauses in the Constitution, in section 17114, which is that any person or authority in whom the power to consult in this Constitution is granted or is given to, that person is not bound by the outcome of the Constitution. But however, the President sent out letters consulting political parties, notifying them and drawing their attention to the fact that it has pleased him to consider for appointment Edmund Sylvester Alpha as the chairman for the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone. And following those letters that were sent out, feedbacks from what I heard and from what I've seen on social media myself, feedbacks were received from all political parties. I was told that one political party even interviewed the candidates before confirming their suitability for the position. So equally, the main opposition, All People's Congress, also sent in their own reply to the consultation letter stating the reasons why they are not satisfied with the appointment of Edmund Alpha as the chairman for the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone.
Do you see those reasons as valid in your estimation?
Well, those reasons are reasons that every other political party has put forward before, depending on where you stand. So when Christian Athorpe was reappointed after 2007, even though the SLPP claimed the election was disputed, the announcement was unprocedural as part of the claims that were put forward by us, the SLPP. It was also a disputed issue when Dr. Christian Athorpe was reappointed as the chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone. So depending on where you stand, and depending on what position you occupy at a particular point in time, you would state almost carbon copy of the same reasons that, okay, this person has taken part in an election or he has supervised an election wherein election results were tabulated or were still coming in and the election were announced by him or by or a presented result that were announced, depending on where you are. So the president, in line with the Constitution, followed all the process, all the procedures, and then the appointment was finally put out. So as provided for by Section 93, there is a committee, part of the standing committee in Section 93(1) that is called the Committee of Appointments and Public Service. So that committee in Parliament is responsible for interviewing persons that are appointed by the President for positions of trust and responsibility, be it minister, be it head of parastatal, as the case may be.
Okay.
So the committee, having received the confirmation that yes, indeed, His Excellency has appointed Edmund Alpha and a number of other persons who were appointed prior to his own letter, the committee put out a notice informing its membership. So the membership of the committee is made up of APC, SLPP, and Paramount Chiefs Member of Parliament. And there is no rule that says that the committee, that is the Public Service Committee, when they are conducting any interview, it has to be a blend of both parties.
Okay.
It's an ideal situation that both parties should sit and interview the candidate, but there is no hard and fast rule that if this person doesn't come, the committee does not do its work. So the committee put out a notice to its members and they notify their membership that an interview will be conducted yesterday, and the interview was conducted for the Chief Electoral Commissioner and other persons that were appointed.
You don't see anything wrong with the fact that the other party was absent?
Like I said, it's like Section 89 of the Constitution.
Okay.
When the Constitution stipulates quorum of Parliament, the Constitution did not say a quorum should be a composition of multiple parties.
Okay.
It said a quorum should be 1/4 of the members of Parliament. So 89 is like the precursor to the standing order when it comes to composition and constitution of committees and the work of committees. It does not state exactly whether it has to be a multi-party, inclusive committee, whether it's the appointment committee or the committee, the public accounts committee or transparency committee or the committee on water resources, as the case may be. Hence, you have members of Parliament present, and they are members of the committee, and they can form a quorum. Then their work is valid.
All right. Honorable AKK, I mean, the Deputy Speaker said that the APC had opposed the candidacy, of Mr. Alpha. I mean, from the horse's mouth, what are these disputations?
Let me pick it up from where it stopped, and I want to say this to Sierra Leoneans. If there is any time for us to speak up as a nation, I think the time is now.
Okay.
Do we continue doing the very things we say they were wrong yesterday because it suits us today? It makes no good history. He has laid a very fine platform for which, by his own very conscience, he speaks to the fact that it was wrong. He speaks to the fact that it is wrong. And as young leaders as we are,
you didn't use those words exactly.
Of course. Let me just speak to this, please.
Okay.
The first thing is, do we have a problem as a nation? Yes, there is a problem. Does it start yesterday? No. Does it start after the 2023 elections? No. It started way before the 2023 elections. It stated it clearly that after the 2007 elections, the SLPP cried foul. Why? The same thing. The issue of consultation, the issue of the Electoral Commission being appointed by the president has always been a bottleneck. Has other countries seen the same? Yes.
But his foundation is that the elections were disputed, even though,
No, it's not just the elections. It's not just the elections being disputed.
Okay.
The dispute is around the issue of consultation, as he stated. The issue has been around the issue of appointment by the president, as he has stated. And
but it's constitutional, isn't it?
Let me just...
No, go ahead. I'm just trying to
I am
fix
not
the
saying,
context. Okay.
The truth is, this same constitution we are quoting, we've all agreed as Sierra Leonean, devolve of where you are, whether you're a journalist, whether you're a market woman, whether you're a politician on the APC side or the SLPP, the UDM, we've all agreed we have challenges with this constitution. Yeah. With all due respect to those who were part of that parliament that made this constitution, there are challenges. Yeah. But because there are challenges, we've all agreed that the issue of consultation, firstly, the constituency we should consult. The same constituency the president is not tied to the outcome of the consultation. That is a problem in itself. Are we finding a way to solve it? Yes. Have we come to a table to agree on what to do? Yes. Okay. And that is where I see, when people speak of the tripartite and think the tripartite is just a deliberation of the 2020 election, no. It was a force meeting we had as political party, the two major political parties, to discuss all the issues affecting the runs of elections. And one of the things that came clear is the appointment of the Electoral Commissioner by the President is one all of us cried and said, no, it's not a best practice around the world anymore. We also came to the conclusion that in most countries, you know, when we make laws most times, he knows it as a deputy speaker, that we look at best practice around the world. Most times we benchmark Uganda, we benchmark Ghana, we benchmark Kenya, and in all of these countries, it is crystal clear that this situation of the president appointing the electoral commissioner with a consultation that is not well defined, that is not well meaning, that has a tendency of just giving an advantage to whosoever is in the ruling bench, it's no more a practice, you know, across the world.
The Secretary General now of the main party, I mean the ruling party, SLPP, I mean AKK and Tawa, I just said, I mean a few days ago or so, that he doesn't believe in this tripartite stuff, you know, that the thing excludes all other parties, so it doesn't make much sense to him. That's what he said on Liberty Online.
I wish you would have not asked this question.
Okay.
Because
why?
My response will trigger many other public debates. The truth is, this brings us to the words of saying, how sincere was the SLPP? How sincere are they in maintaining the peace of this country? How sincere are they in maintaining the very fabric we call a nation? The tripartite was not a merry-making show. It was an agreement born out of the agreement of national unity, in which we all agreed there was something wrong in the immediate elections. We all agreed there were things wrong in the past elections, and therefore we said, as a political class, can we come to the table and sit and discuss it? And guess what? If he say he doesn't believe in the tripartite, he's also saying he doesn't believe in the judgment of the president. He's also doubting the intelligence of the people appointed by the president into that committee.
Oh, you're speaking for himself, though. He made that disclaimer.
No, what he said was directly an affront on the integrity of the president, the intelligence of the president, and the people around the president who also help him. You understand? This was not just the president appointed the chief minister now to be there. We had a situation of having international partners come in there. So as a secretary general of a party, when you speak sometimes, you must also know you're speaking not just as an individual, but you speak the mind of the very institution you represent. And you are the party in governance. How can you deceive yourself and intend to deceive a whole nation who believe that the whole current political atmosphere is built around this agreement of national unity and the tripartite, only for you to come out at this material time and say, oh no, I don't think it was necessary? Are you saying the president was making a mistake? You know, sometimes I have said this, when people speak from the SLPP angle, they must understand that they are not in opposition. They are walking into opposition, but they must understand now they're in governance. Responsibility in what you say is important. Let me end with what the deputy speaker was saying. At least he was speaking in a bit matured manner. What we were saying is there is a problem as a nation, and because there is a problem as a nation, we need to fix it. We have an opportunity as young men today. We've cried before, we're crying now, and because there is a problem, it behoves us to look at the problem and not to look at our advantage. If we believe, because today we're in position of trust, we're in position of advantage, we want to do what suits us, we're also just creating situations that those before us did not address, and we must do better. And we're not saying the president does not have the powers in the 1991 constitution. We're saying we've identified the problem. We've come to a position where we all say, okay, this is the problem. We've come to a situation where we have a draft before us as parliament. Why are we in a haste? Has anybody stopped Admon Alpha from acting as the acting commissioner? Nobody has stopped him. He has held many paramount chiefs elections. The work of ECSL is going on. Why the haste? Why the rush? Why can't we wait to have the law being fixed?
Okay, Honorable, the All People's Congress Party, listening to you speak, you clearly have issues with the president's appointment of Edmond Alpha, to be specific, as the chief electoral commissioner. And you also have issues with the consultations, whatever the processes the president used in reaching his decision. What other method, what prescribed method would the All People's Congress prefer the president to use before reaching this decision?
Okay. Firstly, I think I will have gone through my thoughts before the issue of the Secretary General of the SLPP that makes no sense to me was mentioned. The first thing is, we agreed, both parties agreed in the tripartite. And the tripartite is not an APC document. What we agreed, both parties, is what came out as the 80 recommendations. What we brought forward as a party that was not agreed was put aside. You understand? So everything that was part of the 80 recommendation is what we agreed. We all agreed that because in the past it has affected the APC and it has affected the SLPP, now we're going to fix a problem. How do we fix the problem? We need a Charts Committee. And in that document, a Charts Committee was discussed.
In the tripartite recommendations.
Yes. Yeah. It was not just discussed. We had a framework in which we also mimic other institutions, other countries, to ensure we have a kind of Charts Committees. And these Charts Committees should be appointed by the institutions they represent. Where is the problem? What was brought to us in Parliament is a situation in which, instead of institutions sending reps, now they were recommending that the president choose among institutions. Let me give you an example. You're a journalist, you belong to the Bar Association. But in this draft they brought to us, they said the president can appoint any journalist with total disregard for institutions like the Bar Association. Let's say worst case, you say WIMSAL, because you need agenda kind of thing in the whole thing. You say the president can appoint any legal person, disregarding the Bar Association or any other institution that works within the legal framework. So we said earlier that no, this was not the spirit of this the consultation through the tripartite. This was not the spirit of the tripartite. Therefore, we are saying we are not expecting much, but we are saying the things we agreed upon as a nation. Mind you, the 2028 election was the main mirror that we were looking at when we were both in the room. So therefore, it is important to note that if we had agreed we are going to have a Charts Committee for sincerity of purpose, I am not saying we're going to reach a level in this country again in the not too distant future where we have political challenges and political upheavals. But if it happens, both parties or any other party must have the confidence to come again to say, okay, let's discuss the issues. But if the SLPP at this point are backpedaling, are making statements that seems as if they are jeopardizing the unwon peace of this nation, then it's worrisome.
What do you think, in your own words, why do you think the SLPP are in a rush to appoint Edmond Alpha as the new Chief Electoral Commissioner?
I wish they would speak for themselves, because what I think might not be what they think.
They may not consider it a rush, but you do consider it a rush.
Because the election is in 2028. There is no major activity now that within the next 2 months that the ECSL will be undertaken. And the law is before us. We need to amend the laws. We are amending the Constitution. The fact that government even accept to even discuss 32 of the Constitution means there is a problem with it. And the fact that it is before us as Parliament means there is a challenge to that part of the law. Why can't we wait and go through the process?
Okay, I'll be back with you, Honorable. Deputy Speaker, don't you think the All People's Congress do have a legit reason to be concerned, owing to the fact that the same Edmond Alpha was the commissioner that presided over, was it the by-elections in Kabbalah, wherein allegedly 49 was changed to 149, and regardless of the fact that National Elections Watch advised for that result not to be announced as it was in favor of the SLPP candidate, the commissioner then, who was Edmond Alpha, still went ahead and announced in favor of the SLPP candidate, and that result stood. Don't you think the APC should be worried?
I think everybody should be at a point where we have seen someone that is being appointed first time into a position like that both parties have their history with him. I would pose the same question to you. Don't you think the SLPP should be worried that it was Edmond Alpha, who was the district election officer, who replaced his commissioner, Nyale, were to empanel the ECSL at the time of the announcement of the 2007 election? So he has shown patriotism, that he has put his work above every other thing. No other interest is more akin to him than his national interest. Because for him to have come, sat there at the British Council when the SLPP was in power, when he was the district election officer, but because he believed that the commission should be empaneled properly to announce the results, the voice and views of Sierra Leoneans, I think you should credit him for that.
Well, that's nothing compared to what actually happened with the Kabbalah by-elections, because...
It is still allegedly.
Honorable, no, wait a minute. New National Elections Watch ensured that they aired it. They made the analysis of that particular elections, and they were clear and they were sure about what they were saying. We have the videos, it's all over, that the SLPP candidate actually scored 49. But when it was entered, eventually, they just added 1 to the 49 to make it 149. Apparently, the All People's Congress candidate was leading. He had 100. But making the 49 to 149 automatically means the SLPP person would lead. What happened was, New warned the Electoral Commission. It was all over the media. It's still in the media. I do have it in my phone, that video, wherein New advised for that result not to be announced. But then Edmond Alpha was the commissioner. I don't know if Honorable here is aware of what I'm saying, but Edmond Alpha was the commissioner, and he went ahead and read and announced the SLPP person as the winner. Should we be worried that in an event wherein there's a deadlock between the SLPP and the APC, should Edmond Alpha be approved as the Chief Electoral Commissioner eventually? Should Sierra Leoneans be worried that would have a repeat of that same scenario?
I will still come to the point I was making, that whatever you've said is still within the bracket of allegedly. One. Secondly, if I could recall vividly, I remember the ECSL, then I think it was led by Conteh, they conducted an investigation, and they came out with a plausible explanation. In their words, I am not saying my own word. I am saying exactly what was put out in public. They came out with a plausible explanation. They came to the studio and they were all over, and they explained exactly what happened with regards the misrepresentation by New and the fact that what was put out in public was not the conclusive final position. I am not saying whatever you're saying is wrong. It's still within the bracket of allegedly. But equally, I have heard a lot of things about why the rush. You see, there is no vacuum in electoral cycle. The electoral cycle does not start in 2028. The electoral cycle for the next election starts on the day the election of that particular cycle is announced. Then the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone starts preparation for whatever elections that will come thereafter. And for a national election, there are a lot of things that go into the process of preparation. It's like you being called a member of parliament. People only address you as honorable when you're sworn in, when you subscribe the oath. But the process leading to you becoming a member of parliament starts from the day your successor or your predecessor is announced. Because on that day, you begin to canvass the people. You begin to go around. You start the process of lobbying, getting into the party's hierarchy, trying to get yourself at the forefront. So it's a process. And for you to lead that process, let's not forget there are international standards with labor. Thank God he has been part of a labor committee for a very long time. Even in Sierra Leone, the labor law says if you ask in a particular position for 6 months, you are equivalent to not only the opportunities and facilities in that office, but your position becomes tenable. You should be the substantive. Yes, and he has been there for 6 months. And the president, looking at the fact that election disputes, I tell you, there have been commissioners that were appointed like a year to the election. That is also a point of dispute. That why are you appointing a commissioner now very close to the election? Now a commissioner has been appointed 2 years to an election. It's also an issue. It's rush. So for me, it's about understanding the context of 32.3. 32.3 is not a clause that has been revised today. In the Peter Tucker Constitutional Review Commission, you know, President Komon is a lucky president. He has been the only president that has received 2 constitutional review documents. The Peter Tucker Constitutional Review document was handed over to him, and he looked at it and said, okay, you know what? To give further justification, further authority to this document, let me also set the Constitutional Review Committee led by Justice Kawan with 80 eminent Sierra Leoneans. And that committee also came with a report. And in that report, something stood out. The submission of the SLPP during those periods, during the work of that committee, stipulate exactly that a multi-party selection committee should be set up to replace Section 32.3. And it was presented to the commission having, even in their report, they say having gone through all of the recommendations they received, they believe that Section 32.3 of the 1991 Constitution should be retained. And they submitted that recommendation to government. And the government, under the revered Attorney General, believed that yes, it is the right thing to do to retain Section 32.3. And the government accepted that recommendation. So the point of saying, because of our issues, that is why the tripartite recommended a multifaceted committee benchmarking best practice in Kenya or in Uganda. Also, let's not forget that the TOR for the CRC given to them by President Komon was to also benchmark best practice or best practices in other countries and come out with resolutions. And one of the resolutions that came out clearly as part of the CRC recommendation was to amend Section 74.1. That is to say, and this has been a recommendation from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, the Peter Tucker Constitutional Review, the Justice Kawan, that Sierra Leone moved from a first past the post disputed system to a proportional representation. And this is an international benchmarking that was done. So it is not about cherry picking what is good for you today and what is not suitable tomorrow. It's about us coming together, like he said, holistically, and look at things that would work for this country. But the president exercising the power, let's not forget. You see, when Kelsin says the GRONOM, it means it is the constitution of all other laws and statutes put together that forms the GRONOM. So no other document, no other law supersedes the GRONOM. And the GRONOM is the guide for the president, and the president has acted in line with the 1991 Constitution. You know,
Alima had pointed out something which is an allegation, past transgression, or whatever you call it. Let me draw our attention to the EU's final report, you know, the electoral report they submitted in 2023. They found out results, tabulation lacked transparency, their words, and statistical discrepancies between batches of presidential results raised serious concerns. I quote, an independent and credible parallel vote tabulation done by a Citizens Observer Group National Elections Watch New pointed out statistical inconsistencies in result data. They recommend the ECSL to establish and publish detailed procedures for the tabulation and announcement of results, as well as put in place a robust, transparent, and easily verifiable results processing system well ahead of elections. These all point to past, you know, inefficiencies, if you like, not to Edmund Alpha, but a group of them who were superseding, you know, activities at the commission when we had the 2023 elections. If you ask someone, they'll tell you, oh no, you know what, this man was part of this team. Why appointing now, even though there are transgressions which have not been fixed?
If a 200-year democratic institution is questioned, what will you say?
This was EU.
No, I am saying if a 200-year democratic institution in the United States, the president that sits today is still questioning his loss of 4 years ago, and is still claiming that elections were rigged in the United States, and that his election, he did not lose that election. He lost because the election was rigged. So the point is, you see, I have had a lot in the room about New. Even New itself, lacks democratic credential.
You think so? This is
Yes,
a very
I feel
serious
so.
allegation.
Even new itself lacks democratic credential.
You know,
ask them when was the last time election was
They are
done.
not here to respond. So
No. I am saying. I am just saying.
Yeah.
When was the last time an election was conducted for the appointment, selection, or election of the head of new? You cannot remember. Marcela Samba has been there for as long as God knows since Valnora left. When was the last time you heard about the CSOs, the conglomerate of CSOs? Most of them are dead. We should do an introspection in new itself, so as to ascertain whether these bodies that came together to give the democratic mandates of new being an observer
Well,
mission.
it's not a government body.
No, it's not a government body. But if you are observing elections, you should also put your credentials. If you say he who comes to equity must come with clean hands.
Okay.
If you want to talk about democratic pedigree, you should also put your democratic credentials on the line.
Right.
So we should see all of these organizations, because I know the current chairman of the deputy chairman of the SRPP had civil society that was part of new. The current PRO of the SRPP had a civil society that was part of new. Most of these civil societies are dead. So we should also do an introspection of new. But that's beside the point. The recommendation made by the EU is saying, it's more or less speaking to the fact that there should be more reforms in our electoral law. We were there when we passed the Public Elections Act. The Public Elections Act is clear as to how elections are tabulated, as to how publications are made, and in what form the Chief Electoral Commissioner should announce results. And he has not deviated in any of that. The APC is calling for disaggregated, yes.
Even when new pull a separate result that was inconsistent with ECSL's?
The mandate of the Constitution it cannot be eroded by an election result from an observer mission. Let's not forget, it's not the EU.
But there are precedents. You know, in the past, new had been actually predicting election results. All of them were consistent.
There is a difference.
Why floor them now?
There is a difference between polling,
Okay,
forecasting, and announcing election results. You must get that clear.
but in most cases, it was consistent with what NEC would put out eventually. Why floor them now?
No, it has not been consistent. Let me tell you what happened.
Okay.
I will go back to my own case. Yeah? Election observers in Nomley, election observers before the election, believed that because historically the SLPP had never won in Nomley, and the composition of the constituency was clearly showing that I would do well, but I will not win. But at the end of the day, I did not only win, I won by a margin of over 2,633 votes against an incumbent. So election polling, election polling officers, forecasters, predicted that Donald Trump would be whitewashed by Hillary Clinton. It was also predicted that the election result would be close. These are top-notch election prediction agency. It was also predicted that it would be a tight race between Donald Trump and the former vice president. But it was not. So predictions are not sacrosanct, they are not concrete. Okay. They are only prospections of what you see, the sample that you took. So the sampling cannot give you an outcome that is definite. It is ECSL that has the mandate to announce election. But back to the point, to summarize, I think it is clear that all elections that we've held in Sierra Leone have brought out recommendations to correct errors. There's no perfect situation. I listened to JFK a few days ago on Truth Media.
Okay.
When he was asked about the election, the recent lower level election, he said there's no perfect election. There's no perfect process. Okay. If the 200-year institutions are grumbling, we are grappling with democracy and we are learning it. And the laws that we make will continue to improve on them. So now that we've learned that it is important that we consider putting election results on the screen, displaying them whilst the tabulation is going on, then we'll try to incorporate that into our election architecture.
Nice.
He's here, and I'm here, and we can push that.
Honorable AKK, I mean, it's becoming a pattern for the All People's Congress, well, the main opposition, to stay out of parliament when serious hearings, are being heard. Particularly so when there is always a strong dissent from your side. Yesterday, you did not appear in Parliament. You were not part of the screening process, if you like, or the interview of Mr. Alpha. Why? Do you think that was the right call to make?
Before I get to that, let me also make something clear to the Deputy Speaker. we are not only making history as young people, we must set a path we'll be proud of when we'll be referred to. What he's saying today, I am sure falls below what most of these admirers expect from him. I'm saying this because when he speaks, every moment he speaks, it gives you a clear indication of the problem we have as a nation. But it tries to be very, very much cunning to change its tune, go into the right part of the conversation. Yes, you've admitted. We have the Truth and Reconciliation Commission reports, we have the Edmund Cowan reports, and what you have not said conclusively is, ever since all those white papers were made, there were no attempt of amending the Constitution. We've come so close as a nation. From 1991, this is the first time we're coming so close. So indeed, our point is there has always been a problem. We have identified this as a problem, whether it's on your side as the SRPP, whether it's on our own side as the APC, we know there is a problem. And it's this problem our people are grabbing up with. Secondly, in all of this problem, we've never had an opportunity to sit on a bipartisan approach to solving the problem. In this one, we have already gone that far. We've brought out recommendations. We've agreed on those recommendations. And the ceremony was not done in Mabela. It was not done in Kubola. It was done right before the presidency. How can SRP be so childish to think all that was done before the president, before our donor partners, before international community could just be swept under the carpet? If you go to every international institution today in the world, they tell you Sierra Leone, they are implementing the tripartite they agreed on. Our institution, our country is being benchmarked, whether by the World Bank, whether by the MCC, by the tripartite recommendations, implementations. Come to think about this, and he ought to know this, and every Sierra Leonean should be worried about this. It was only in the 2023 elections that our credential as a country, our democratic credential as a country, got the worst global condemnation. Are you not worried about that? I am. Are you not worried the fact that all international monitoring group that were in Sierra Leone wrote reports that were damning on our democracy? Are you comparing that to a 200-year-old American democracy? That's a mismatch.
Well,
Please let me learn. That's a total mismatch. What we're here to discuss is there is a problem. And this problem does not start now. And the problem has been identified all this while. And we now have an opportunity to address them. Yes, you were right when you said the electoral cycle does not start in 2028. But has the ECSL been stopped from undertaking any institutional reform, or have they been stopped going forward with their proceedings because Edmond Alpha has not been approved? Are you afraid that the search committee will do a better job to save our democracy? What is the SRPP afraid of?
Honorable AKK, the law is the law, whether it's bad or it's good. Until it is changed, it remains the law. And according to Honorable Tawa, Deputy Speaker, they followed the due process and they've done everything in accordance with the existing laws. In an event where this Edmond Alpha is approved, what will the opposition do?
You know, you have the law. The law is always the law. You're right.
You know, sorry, Alima, to interject. I had asked you why you stayed out of Parliament yesterday. Before you answer this, please, because you didn't answer that.
No, I'll answer that. That is something I'm going to answer. The law is always the law.
Okay.
But besides the law, there is a national interest, which is perhaps better not understood by many people. In a situation where we hang on the balance before the tripartite, after the 2023 elections, we were not talking law. We were talking about safeguarding the national security of our country. We were talking about having peace for the sake of national furtherance. Were there no laws? There were. And in those very moments, we stood as a political parties. We had a political stalemate. Everybody was worried as a nation because most countries who have gone to that area have not returned back to democracy. Were there no laws? There were laws. But what did we do? We beat those laws. We came together as a nation and we had a description of a way forward. And it starts, what we are asking for is not, we're not bringing down the moon. We're not asking them to bring us a lion in town. We're just saying, let us stick to what we agreed. And if we come thus far, what are you afraid of is my question.
Well, Honorable, it is obvious that the SLPP are bent on going by the law.
So, if they're bent on going by the law, we're a political party. We've given them 48 hours ultimatum.
About that, what's the status?
Let me answer the question first before you think I'm dodging it. As a political party, political parties all over the world have different way of protesting when things are wrong.
Okay.
If you follow the Nigerian Parliament recently, there was upheaval. It was almost a public fight. That's their own way of protesting when it was wrong. We're saying we went to Parliament, we went back to governance because we had an agreement that was a tripartite agreement between us, the government of Sierra Leone, and the international community. That's what brought us to governance. Had it just been by the result announced by the ECSL, we would have not ever gone to governance. That's for sure. So we expected all what we agreed to be followed. And where there are constitutional amendments to be made, should be done. In fact, there is a timeline for all those implementations. Are they following them up? We just seen a breakdown in what we expected and what was in the agreement we signed. So we're given an ultimatum. If it continues this way, we're going to take our next steps going forward. And this will not be good for our nation. He was celebrating the...
What do you hope to achieve by?
We hope to achieve a situation wherein we put our country's democracy on a better footing. We hope to achieve a situation where we build our history that will be reminded of that these are the set of political class that took those very difficult decisions that put Sierra Leone on the map when it comes to democracy. Come to think about this. Do you think the presidents in Kenya who are allowed to have a shared committee, they don't want an advantage? They do. But do you know why they've created a shared committee? Because they put the interests of the nation beyond above their political gimmick of leading.
Yes, go ahead. Please,
what is happening in Ghana? When you elect an electoral commissioner, a parliament has to go through the process. That is putting nation above self.
Which is what is happening now.
No, it's not. I am talking about the appointments. Here, the president appoints. There, it's not so.
Okay.
So we are saying, all we need to do as a nation, if Tawa goes to opposition today, he must have a confidence that the institutions, the laws we are building now, will protect him. And that assured us of a situation in which our country moves forward. Don't forget, I've always said this, and I'm going to say it again. Our country is not just a fragile democracy, it's a democracy built from the wreckages of the war. Therefore, we must be careful that we don't put our self-interest above national interest.
My question
because
is...
the very issues that led to the 1991 war, we must ensure we run away from them.
Honorable, the question is, what do you hope to achieve? Meaning, beside APC, there are 14 or 15 other political parties, and according to what you guys have discussed this morning, 14 others have approved. 12, right? 12 have already approved Edmund Alpha. They've cleared him. So it's only the All People's Congress, and which other one? All People's Congress, at least we know of the All People's Congress. That still
and even the SLPP have not.
We have.
Well, he has answered.
I have not seen that letter out. You know what is interesting?
Is it not obvious?
No letter was put out.
No, let me tell you what is interesting.
No letter
Even
was
when
put
the
out.
letter was written to political parties, you know, the president did not write the letter to the SLPP. I did not see that letter.
No, he wrote the letter to all
PPRC,
let me come. Copying all political parties.
Okay.
And I have not seen the SLP respond to that letter. So the two major political parties have not responded.
No, we have responded.
No, I have not.
This is the deputy speaker.
No, we have responded.
It's not part of the unlike myself, I am part of the body structure of the APC. I'm the regional secretary. He is not. He was defeated by his own very uncle. So he's not part. He does not have the local standing to speak on behalf of SLPP. With all due respect to him, what I'm saying is, again, this takes us back to the tripartite report. And if you see when the recommendation came out on the constitution, I saw the now chief minister, and all of us echoed the same, that banning political parties because they don't win elections is bad. But some of these things that are unfolding now are the very reasons why the SLPP in opposition wanted a situation wherein we look into the operations of these small political parties. This is why the APC in opposition is also saying we must look at the operations of these small political parties. By structures, we need them. To have dissenting voices, we need them. To speak for people, to speak for citizens, we need them. But to come to think about it, after the 2023 elections, with all that was done, with all our integrity, our elections activities being questioned, I think before we go to the 2028 elections, President Bio being captured as a father of democracy, there is all the need to look at electoral reforms, look at major laws, constitutional reviews that will build our country's integrity. Imagine a country sitting on possibility of getting the MCC being stopped, other international institutions stocking us on just the very things we need to do to put our countries forward through the tripartite, and we still think we should cherry pick, we should be playing political gimmicks on where I am right, where is wrong. I think it is time as Sierra Leoneans, which he was born a Sierra Leonean first. Joining SLPP is a choice. Joining the APC is my choice. But what remains of us is both of us are Sierra Leoneans. And I think we must put up the thinking cap of being a Sierra Leonean and say, hey, at this point, we must do what is right. And what is right for now is the fact that we look at where we went wrong, where we have constitutional reviews to be done.
Okay.
We do them for the sake of our nation and for the sake of our children that are
Tell us about this ultimatum briefly.
We've given 48 hours ultimatum.
Okay.
And we're still hoping the president will rethink
Ultimatum
his decision.
for what?
For the withdrawal of the appointment of Edmund.
You think it's possible?
Well,
do
everything
that?
is possible in politics.
Okay.
Everything is possible. When you put
You know,
politics,
this thing is constitutional, isn't it?
every other thing that has been constitutional has also been discussed, not referring to the Constitution.
Which is why,
I am saying,
finish up.
when the nation's interest is at risk, the laws must not be dependent upon. We must also do everything possible to save the image of our country in trying times. I am saying after 2023 to date, our nation has been on the crossroad. Our nation has been referred to its democracy, has been struggling. Every other report you've read, whether you read them as a journalist or you read them as a Sierra Leonean, I am sure you are not proud of the outcome of the 2023 reports being sent either by Carter Center, EU, our local observers, and therefore it is important as a nation where there are no laws when all these wrongs were done, there were laws. Are there needs for us to reform those laws? Yes, there are needs. Are we at the brink of amending those laws? Yes, we are.
Okay.
My question is, do we put our nation first and save our integrity as a nation? Or do we look at my advantage against national security. I will go for national security. I will go for our national inbuilt. I will go for a situation wherein we build our image. I also say every day, don't forget, our democracy was built on the ash of civil war. Therefore, unlike other nations, we must not think always political. We must prioritize the security of our nation above every other thing.
Before hearing from the Deputy Speaker, you see, I would like to ask, is filibustering really working for the APC? Because, I mean, we are now going to start discussing the proposed, amendment to the 1991 Constitution soon, much as, electoral reforms are concerned in that particular legislation. And one thing that struck me particularly was when the Deputy Speaker, during our last conversation, said that he thinks that perhaps during the discussion of that particular bill tabled, the section which introduced the PR, the APC would walk out of Parliament. Is that possible? Would you be walking out?
This is
he told me that just in our last conversation.
This is where I said the aspect of goodwill, the aspect of nationalism, the aspect of sincerity on the part of the SLPPs is becoming, that space they used to have of nationalism is becoming narrow by the minute.
Okay.
Let's imagine that is his thought. Let's imagine that's the thought of the president.
Okay.
Because in the SLPP, everybody thinks on the line of the president. If you see somebody in the attire base speaking for SLPP, the way he thinks and the way he discusses is the way they all think and discuss.
Okay.
You know what is missing in our democracy is the ability to approach ourselves and discuss. Is everybody saying every aspect of the PR is negative? Nobody will say that. Is everybody saying every aspect of the first past the post is positive? Nobody will say that. What is missing in our body politics is a situation where we have political class. We sit and we talk about everything. Everything and anything every other man will talk about.
But will you be walking out?
No, let me come. So as a nation, it beholds us. Even before you talk about legislations, you engage political parties. You've seen, you were in Sierra Leone, you've seen how many times the president then, Ernest Koroma, will call the opposition to discuss even things that go before Parliament, and he discussed with them. What is wrong with our democracy? Are we enemies? No, we are not. If the president has a good proposal and he believes this is good for our nation, what is wrong in saying, okay, can I reach out to the APC? Can we discuss this? Can I know what their fears are on this one?
So you want to be called by the president to discuss this?
Do you know why Tawa at every other day who will support a PR proposal?
Okay, why?
Because after the mistake the people did in Lumley in 2018, that was corrected in 2023, he knows he does not have a political career under a constituency-based elections anymore. That's the same with him. Both my brothers in Western area. So if you talk to Mary Conteh, I told Mary Conteh the other day, he's a true beneficiary of the PR. My uncle, who was the late father, benefited from the PR in Cambia district. Mary is also benefited from the PR. On the first past the post in 2018, he lost.
But is PR really bad?
Well, again, I'll say this to you. The PR is not only bad. The PR is taking away the voice of the people. Let me say this.
It's about the threshold, really.
No, it's not.
It's
not the threshold. It's not the threshold. Let me say this.
Okay.
I'll give it with examples. In Kailaung district, for example, in 2018, it is perceived to be the stronghold of the SLPP. Symbols were awarded by the SLPP.
Okay.
The people were not satisfied. They turned in 2 independent candidates. That is the voice of the people disagreeing with their party. In Cambia, for example, the people had a problem with the APC party.
Okay.
Out of the 6 MPs, they decided to vote in another political party. That is the voice of the people. Had it been a PR system at that time, the NGC would have not returned 4 candidates.
Okay.
No, they would have not. Because the difference between all three candidates, they've won. And the difference in Tonkolimba, where he's coming from, was almost 10 times the score the NGC had in Gambia in 57 at the time, and also in Mambolo, because the margin they had was just, some was 500, the other one was just 1,000, and in Tonkolimba we led by almost 18,000 votes. So you see the difference. They will have not returned that amount of MPs. Again, come to Pujeong. When the SRPP sent in a candidate that was not accepted by the people rejected the candidate and voted in an independent candidate. With the PR system, the people will not have the opportunity to go in for an independent candidate. That's one. Secondly, he knows as well as I know well, even under the PR system where I am 001 of Gambia District, it is difficult to access every aspect of Gambia District. But to show you how much insincere the SRPP is, with all due respect to them, they run their local election, their internal elections on a constituency base. So you have constituency chairman in the SRPP internally, but when it comes to running elections, you say no, we are not going to constituency base. When it comes to elections in the 2023 elections, when there is PR, like the one that was done in 2007, 2002, 1996, it was a block PR. There were two types of PR we've used in the past. We have a national PR where seats are awarded by the total percentage you had. We had the district block. It was called a district block because in that PR, every district is considered equal numbers of seats. Let me just land this.
Okay.
But in the one that passed, this is so much, it was so interesting. ECSL and Statistics Sierra Leone told us, oh, okay, we are using a PR. But in this PR, we are allocating 6 seats to Gambia, 16 seats to Kenema. You've apportioned, you've done the division already. So what was critically needed was just, these are the constituencies based on this thing. But it is so much problematic when people think they outsmart. Let me say this.
So I mean, you've been
political
will you be walking out, Honorable AKK, or not? I mean, just confirm.
No, I don't
believe is correct.
I don't believe in the PR because it takes away the power.
Will you be
people.
walking out of Parliament as a team, as a group, as a party,
until
during the deliberations?
Until we get to that point.
Is it possible? Is it possible, given your past history, that you've been walking out of sessions, including yesterday? You didn't attend the session.
No. We have never walked out of a session.
Well, you stayed out of Parliament yesterday.
Let me say this.
It's the same thing when the Parliament began. You didn't go there. It was only the Honorable Bangura who went there, actually.
When you're done, I will answer this question.
No, go ahead. I'm just making reference.
Thank you. We have never reached a point where we walked out of Parliament on issues that are just, we don't play with.
Now understand.
With our national assignment. I am saying we will engage the Parliament, we'll engage citizens, we'll heighten the citizens' education on the PR, where everything we think is necessary to be done. I
thought they are done with that. That's why they did national consultations.
You know, politics is different from music.
Okay.
Music, you go to the studio, you sing, the album is out. Okay. What is left is for you to promote it. In politics, every minute, there is a possibility for a change. I could say this is wrong today. Okay. I go again and consider my decision and my stand, and I come again and say, okay, based on A, B, C, D, a day in politics is like a month in normal day. Okay. So everything is possible. We'll continue engaging our people. Until the day the final whistle is blown and we go into the world. What is
the reason why I ask that is because, I mean, I just want to know whether you think that would be a prudent way to handle the situation.
There are many options left with us as a party.
Okay, Honorable, we'll be back with you, but let me come to Honorable Tawa. Honorable Tawa, with the All People's Congress Party threatening withdrawal from parliamentary proceedings and local councils, what mechanism is your office, I mean the Speaker's office, putting in place to ensure legislative integrity?
Okay, let me say this. Let me first of all clarify some few things, what I said, and some of them are very interesting. I like them. Like he said, they are taking their national duty very seriously, and they don't walk out of Parliament without lightly. They walked out on the president on the occasion of the state opening of Parliament
with a very sound reason.
When the president is presenting his scorecard of his performance for the previous year and stating his policy actions for the next year, the succeeding year, they've walked out. I have said it, and I will say it again. And President Komon said it when he was in Parliament before he became president, that he did not see in 2012, 27, those that were walking out, he did not see most of his friends that were walking out of Parliament in the 4th Parliament. It is clear to say that walking out is not the solution.